Welcome once again back to the lab. It is your old Professor Pilk, and of course we're coming back today with more Scarlet and Violet. If this is your first time here, do consider dropping a subscription, especially if you've been having problems with the Chesnaught Raid, because we have been building so many mon for this. This has been probably one of the most fun raids for me, just because we've had so many successful runs. And one of my favorite things to do here is to build raid mon that really, or mon to take on the raid, that really just are out of the ordinary. Now, we built the Hisuian Zoark. That was one of my favorite builds, but I think today I've got two that really shocked me. Now, the first Pokemon I'm going to talk about here, Iron Leaves, seems to make a lot of sense right here on the surface, because it is a grass-type Pokemon, but I've kept the Psychic Tera. I've talked about it in the previous videos where I'm just completely out of any of the grass shards, so unfortunately I just don't have the ability to make this a grass mon. The other thing that really puts this at a disadvantage is it's a very physically oriented mon. This mon doesn't have nearly as much special attack as it has physical attack, and look at that, physical attack is through the roof. Now, I do have some EV training done, but it's definitely not by design. It is completely by random happenstance. So what we're going to see in this fight is actually just going to be based on this. Now, we do have a little bit of physical attack, but not enough to really make a substantial difference in the overall outcome. As you can see, it's mostly in HP. We got a little bit in speed, special attack, special defense, and physical attack. It's just all across the place. Now, if you were honestly going to build this, I would build this for physical attack and for HP. Those would be your two best stats to put in, and then after that, put a little bit in defense. But I didn't do any EV training here. My EVs are just all from random stuff. The big question everyone's going to have here is the moveset. So obviously we're going to open up with Leer. Now, I should have Leer at the top. I don't, but that's on me. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Just remember, Leer is number one. You're only going to have 4, maybe 5 turns tops that you can even do this, because once the barrier goes up, Leer becomes ineffective. Any status move, anything that is just a status move, is going to be completely ineffective once the barrier goes up. You would have to do something that does damage first and has a secondary effective status to even be effective once the barrier is up. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to open up with Leer. Then we're going to do Swords Dance. Now, Swords Dance will increase our stat 2-fold, so in essence, we only really need 3 Swords Dances. Once we have 3 Swords Dances, then we're going to open up with Electric Terrain. Electric Terrain is going to power up our Quark Drive. Our ability is going to get stronger, and it's going to increase the amount of damage that Psyblade is going to do. And at that point, Psyblade becomes our DPS. Now, I've not done any PP up on Psyblade at all. Psyblade's PP is 15. It's staying at 15. I won't need anything more. Believe me, it's going to produce enough damage as it is, and it is our only damaging move. But we got to keep that Electric Terrain in play. As you notice here, it gets a 50% boost when Electric Terrain is in play. The Quark Drive also gets a 50% boost, and with Swords Dance in play with our attack at max, this is going to be absolutely walloping our opponent. So the big thing here, drop his defensive stat, increase our attack stat, Electric Terrain, and then just hit him as hard as we can. Now, the big downside to this is that our opponent is very, very defensive. He's very bulky in that regard. So, obviously, special attack would be better here. But we've built Giga Drain before. We've built Grass Terras. I don't want to do that. I want to go in here and see if we can do a physical, psychic, basically what this mon has dropped as. I don't want to change anything. I want to see if we can pull this out. And I have a lot of faith. So, I guess let's just check out the fight. Okay, so jumping into the raid here. Now, I want to emphasize one thing about this build. I already know that Chesnaught is really, really, really rugged on the physical defense side. He's a very defensive mon, and he's going to sharply raise his physical defense one more time. Now, that's why we brought Leer. Now, Leer will lower that, and basically what we've got to do is we've got to open up with as much Leer as possible to try to just drag some of that out. So get 2 out. Maybe hit him with a Psyblade for a heal. We'll see what happens here in a moment, because these early hits aren't going to feel great. But the main thing is we've got to lower that defense, because once he puts up his barrier, we can't do anything. So the early game is all about Leer, all about lowering his defenses. If we can get 4 of these Leers off before he puts up the barrier, we're in great shape. If we only get the 3 off, we'll still be fine. Okay, so we're still good. The downside is some of these hits he's doing to us can critical. I don't want... Every time I mention it, he does it. So I really don't want to incur that. But, you know, I'm just trying to drop his defense as much as humanly possible. Okay, we're using Leer again. Chesnaught's defense fell. He's going to use Stone Edge. Okay. We should be good to go. Now let's check his stats here. All right, so his defense is down by 3. That's perfect. That's exactly where we want it. So let's go ahead and do Psyblade, and we'll get a little bit of healing out here. Now, not a huge amount, but it sets a nice base stat. And we're going to need to at least hit him with 3 attacks before we get much of anything out of this. The main thing is here, because we have Shell Bell, there's this critical hit. The Shell Bell is going to be the way that we're basically getting our healing. Now, the good news is he can't do anything about his defense now. He's going to put up his barrier, and the stat nullification essentially is just going to put everybody back to basics. But we're going to come back in with full health. So basically, we're going to see this as a heal. The downside is we lose some time. And in a run like this, where we're just fighting an uphill battle, losing time is bad. But we can't do anything about the critical hit. We've just got to roll with the punches. So hopefully in your attempts, you don't get hit with a crit like I did. So we'll do a Swords Dance. My goal here is to get 3 Swords Dances off. Now, if I get 2 Electric Terrain and Psyblade, I'm fine. But 3 is the perfect situation. So he's going to hit us with Stone Edge. Okay, we're fine. We're good. It's not going to hurt anything. We're doing another Swords Dance. There we go. Another Stone Edge. Okay, we're still good. We'll do one more Swords Dance. And depending on how hard he hits us here, we'll either do a Psyblade to get some damage off, or we'll do Electric Terrain. The main thing with Electric Terrain is it's going to boost the damage that Psyblade does. So really having Electric Terrain in place is the perfect situation. Now, in reality, I would love to be terastallized here, but it's not necessary. And I just need 2 more hits to get terastallized, so I think we're fine. I think we're still in a good place. All right. So it looks like he's cooperating with us. All right. So we're running really low on time. I'm very nervous about that, but let's check out what Psyblade does here. Now, one more Psyblade, we get terastallize, and that's when the healing's really going to come into play. Because remember, essentially we get like a double stab bonus. We have the Electric Terrain. It's going to be a devastating blow once we have that terastallization out. So let's do this again. Bam. Now we got it. Now the downside is once his barrier goes down, he's going to nullify stats. But until then, we're just going to be hammering this home. Now, we are low on time, but we can catch up. Okay, his attack rose, which is not good, but definitely isn't the worst thing ever. Let's go and terastallize. So long as we don't get hit with some unlucky strikes, and I do emphasize luck because it just seems completely random. I think I believe Stone Edge has a higher crit chance. So, you know, there is always that danger. Like, we've got to be mindful of that. But now that we're terastallized and we have him built, or we have him, I guess, deficient enough with us built pretty much all the way up now, we should be able to heal anything he hits us with. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Bam! Alright. The next hit after this should break his stance, which will get us pretty close. Ooh! That one actually broke his stance, and I was not expecting that. The downside is now he's going to lower our Swords Dance. Swords Dance is going to be gone, and Electric Terrain probably will be as well. So we've got at least... We can always put Electric Terrain back, and I don't think we need the full Swords Dance, but at least one would be very helpful. So let's do one... Okay, so let's do one Swords Dance. We'll do an Electric Terrain, and then we'll just start hitting him. We may go back and forth. We may do Swords Dance, Psyblade, Swords Dance, Psyblade, basically until we get to equilibrium. But I think we're going to catch up with the timer here pretty quick, honestly. All right? Okay, Wood Hammer. We're not even worried about it at this juncture. Psyblade. Here we go. See how much damage that incurs. Good amount of damage. I'm going to do one more Swords Dance, one more Psyblade. We'll see where that's at. That might be all we need, I hope. But as you can see, we're now, like, even if I didn't do Swords Dance, we'll be caught up with the timer. But I want to get a little ahead. I want to, like, short-term loss, long-term gain, as I always say. So if you can do one stat boost, or in this case, 2 stat boosts in one move, and get that much more damage out, it's totally worth it. And he's not hitting us with the crits, which is my biggest fear with him. So this is 100% doable. Let's go. Yeah, actually 2 more hits with this. We don't even need Swords Dance. By the time we Swords Dance and do this, we'll be done anyway. So let's just do 2 more Psyblades, and we got this in the bag. Let's go. So a physical psychic build on Iron Leaves, and we nailed it. Now, it wasn't the cleanest run. Could probably clean this run up. You do need the healing. If there was one thing I could probably change about this, maybe instead of electric terrain, but I mean, well, the thing is, electric terrain increases the amount of damage you do. Maybe like throw Giga Drain on there. I don't know if he can actually learn Giga Drain. I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. It's actually a really good question. Yeah, he can learn Giga Drain. It might help, but since he is a physical build, I don't know how much it would actually do. I think the Shell Bell actually would be better. I'm trying to think if the Metronome strategy would work, but I think, honestly, just because of how it is, I don't think it would. I think this might be the way we'd have to go with it. But there you guys go. A physical psychic build on Iron Leaves still did the job. All right, so I actually think I have a really good build here with Walking Wake. And it's going to be a crazy build. First of all, yes, it has been a couple of days. I do still have the fight. That's simply because I've not gone back online. And the raids do stay around at that point. So, little hint, if you've been having some trouble building these and you want to keep these around, just keep your system offline. It's not going anywhere. That's the really crazy, like, it's busted, but, you know, I consider it more of a feature. So, let's talk about the Walking Wake build, because this is going to be a lot of fun here. Now, coming immediately into this, the number one thing you need to know, Shell Bell. This is super important. We're going to use a water Tera, and I'll explain why when we get into the fight. But the number one thing you're going to notice here is we have Hydro Steam, Sunny Day, and Chilling Water. I ran Crunch in here, but Crunch only has a 10% of lowering defense, or special defense, I should say. So I don't think it's going to be a factor. All right? I really don't see Crunch being a factor in this whatsoever. I see Hydro Steam, Sunny Day, and Chilling Water being my main things. The other thing to consider, with the other builds that didn't do any EV training, it was a must with this build. If you don't EV train, this build's not going to work. So what I did is I put as much as I could in special attack and HP. I was just shy of having max HP, so I put everything else into physical defense, because I want to make sure that we're taking as little damage as possible. We got as much HP as possible. Unfortunately, little deficient on that side, but it'll still be all right. Special attack all the way up was mandatory, because that Shell Bell is going to be our only source of healing. So let's go ahead and jump in here. All right, so as we jump into the raid here, the process for this is going to be really weird. It's going to be very counterintuitive. But if you think about it, it actually works quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this up with Sunny Day. And I hear you saying, but you're doing water moves. Sunny Day is going to take this, literally take, no pun intended, the steam out of your water moves. Yes, you're absolutely correct, except Walking Wake has this interesting ability where Sunny Day will actually power Walking Wake up big time. So anything we're losing in Chilling Water, we're actually gaining right back. So Chilling Water is going to do the same amount of damage it always would, even though Sunny Day is in place, just because of Walking Wake's ability. It's essentially the number one thing you need to know. But Chilling Water isn't about the damage. Chilling Water is about that right there. Dropping attack. And Chilling Water is going to be insanely effective for that. Now, we want to get his attack all the way down. We want to reduce that attack as much as possible. Looks like we're having some help in this, and that is absolutely like the best case scenario. Now, I always do these as solo runs, so if somebody else is lowering attack, then that's just a benefit to us. I try not to kind of lean on that tactic, but if it's happening, it's happening. Look at that. Actually, it looks like everyone else is. Let's check his stats here. So he just needs to drop down one more. So we'll go ahead and do one more chilling water. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Probably didn't even need to be honest with you, but that's okay. I'd rather err on the side of caution with that one. There we go. Now, somebody's probably out there screaming, use crunch, use crunch, use crunch. Crunch is only a 10% chance to lower special defense. It's not reliable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to terrestrialize, and I'm going to start hitting Hydro Steam. Now, you got to be careful here, because Wooden Hammer is going to start hurting really badly once I'm terrestrialized. Because remember, my terrestrialization is going to make me a pure Watermon. So I'm going to be 2 times deficient to that attack. He's basically 2 times super effective against my my new water Tera type. But Shell Bell is going to produce enough damage. We'll be able to heal most anything he outputs. And since his attack has been dropped, we're not really worried about that. I don't think we have too much to really concern about with this. So let's keep going. So from this point going forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spam Hydro Steam, and I've got to make sure that Sunny Day stays up. The really nice part about Hydro Steam is that Hydro Steam with Sunny Day actually gets yet another boost. So Sunny Day just went away, so we're going to reinitiate that. We got to make sure Sunny Day stays in play, because that's what's going to help drop his defenses big time. Now that he's got his shield up, it's going to be absolutely necessary. So, I believe it's base 80. I think Hydro Steam is a base 80 attack. And I want to say it gets an extra 30 to 50%. So I want to say it becomes a base 120 attack. But also, Walking Wake gets its own special attack boost from that. So all of this basically combines to a very, very, very effective attack. So as you'll see here, we'll get a good amount of healing out here. We're almost back up to the 300s. That's great. We'll basically go blow for blow up until the point that his shields drop. So this will be... I won't say it's not a perfect run, but it's a run that works. Now, the real downside is there's nothing we can do really to affect Walking Wake's special attack, unfortunately. There's nothing reliable that I can do to increase his special attack at this point. So all we're doing essentially is just using Sunny Day and a move that gets a big benefit. That's really what we're doing here. That's the entire tactic. Plus, we've lowered his attack down enough that he's just not able to hurt us too much. So, in essence, we're really just cheesing this. Is just the honest to goodness answer. Just got to make sure that Sunny Day stays up. With Sunny Day up, Hydro Steam, and then just basically Hydro Steam him until into submission. Really is all we're doing. So I think we need 3 more. Sunny Day will probably drop down here in the next turn or two, so we'll have to reinitiate that. Once we do that, he'll hit us a couple of times and it's not going to feel great, but once that little shimmer up there disappears, we've got to put that back in, because without that, we're not doing the kind of damage we need to do. Alright. I'm expecting it to drop any minute now, so we'll keep an eye on that. Woodhammer. And notice, essentially, with the amount of healing that we're getting at this juncture, we're basically superseding even his damage output now. So this is just great. Now, and this is why Shell Bell is so important, because what's happening here as we're hitting him, our attacks are super effective. Now, his are too, but that's essentially how we're healing. So if you remember back to all the other Grassmon runs we did, all those Mon, essentially we were using Giga Drain more or less as our DPS. It became just the easiest way to handle that situation. You don't have that option here with this Mon, so Shell Bell makes up the difference. Alright, here we go. Sunny Day just disappeared, so we're going to reinitiate that. That does mean this is 1 turn. Yep. This is 1 turn we're going to take some extra damage. There you go. All right, so now we're in the orange, and I don't like that feeling. That's not a comfortable place to be, but let's see if we can Hydro Steam our way to this problem. I think this will be the last one. I think after this we'll break his stance. Yeah, we did. Excellent. Notice that we're now caught up with his health. We've broken his stance. Everything from this point on, every single hit should be a full heal. If not, pretty darn close. I say a full heal. Full heal in this game is a whole different situation, but you get what I mean. Like, we will have almost all, if not completely all, of our HP restored just about every hit. So, let's go. And now we are ahead of the clock. This is perfect. So we took him on that by all accounts was definitely down quite a bit. And now we're knocking him for a loop. Let's go. All right. Let's try this one more time. I think we actually need 2 more of these, I want to say. That's another reason that I say PP is so absolutely important in this. So, definitely something you need to keep an eye on. But here we go. I think we got one more. One more and he's down. I'm not going to lie. I was not completely convinced that this was doable. I am so happy. So, one more Hydro Steam. And that's that! We did it! Absolutely wrecked this guy out with a mon that had no business doing it. Absolutely love it. Man, let's just... We're going to do one more Hydro Steam. It doesn't matter. We can do Chilling Water or whatever. This is just a killing blow. But... success! We built Iron Leaves. We built Walking Wake. What else are we going to build for this raid? You guys let me know in the comments down below. I've still got this raid around. We'll keep doing this. We'll keep having some fun with this. The raid for most everyone else is going to be returning this Thursday. So maybe we'll build a few more mon in between now and then. I don't want to focus on Grassmon. I want to focus on other types of builds. So let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. If you have a build that you can think of, hit me up as well. And I'll catch you guys for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming up really soon.